YouTube Nation, Manfit TV, aka Me TV, aka Playoffs? Playoffs, really, Eagles fans, look, we're going to have this talk today again. I can see some of you were drinking the Kool-Aid once it, look, all right, I said they would win all the games out. They could win all the games out, but that doesn't mean that we go into the playoffs. You know what? I will talk about that later, but let's talk about something that was very good over the weekend, and that's UFC 140. Now, for those who did not see UFC 140, this card was stacked, and it gave you everything that you were promised. And I got to talk about this because there's a lot of people who have been complaining as of late. That's right. We're going to get into this. First off, first fight at UFC 140 was like a 5-second fight, all right? Guy came in through this weird throw, and this guy hit him with a bomb, and he was asleep. Before he even hit the canvas, he was asleep, all right? And what happened was the guy got on top and started hitting him with strikes, and he didn't even defend himself. It was over. The second fight was a joke because both guys, Patrick and whoever this guy was, it didn't even matter, all right? It was that boring because all they kept doing, they were both apparently, I'll put it like this, they were both versed in wrestling. Okay, so you got two wrestlers that have great takedown defense. However, the big game changer of this fight was the striking. It was the striking. The guy Patrick decided to start striking. He was beating the guy. I mean, he was beating the hell out of that guy. And as soon as he had this guy beat, what did he do? Go back to the wrestling. Try to go to the takedown, and it didn't work. And the damn fight went to, was it a decision? It was a split decision, and the other guy actually won. Patrick should have won that fight, but the other guy won. So it goes to show you that you can't leave fights in the hands of the judges. The guy should have won. He should have just kept going. He left the routine of what was happening, what was effective, to go back to his comfort zone, which he shouldn't have done. He was winning the way he was. You have to take a risk if you're going to go out there and fight. Now, I need to move on. Ortiz versus Nera. Let's get into this, all right? Tebow, he's talking about he's done, all right? He's talking about after one more fight, he is done. He has been there for, what, 15 years? I can understand that, all right? Tebow got out there and got punished. He did. He started out good, and people were asking me, you know, on the Twitter, we was talking, who do you think can win this fight? I said, Nera is a good striker. He said he was going to knock him out, and Tebow is pretty much, he's very athletic, he's very powerful, but he's more of a, you know, a submission wrestler, dare I say, all right? He's more, you know, for wrestling. And Tebow got out there and got beat up. He got beat on strikes. The guy was, clearly he was tagging Tebow, and then that fucking knee to the ribs, took everything out of Tebow, all right? Took everything out of him. It was on the edge of the ribs, almost close to the solar plexus. It knocked him down. He couldn't catch his wind. Guy got on top of him, mounted him, and just started wailing on his ribs, and Tebow quit because of the shots to the ribs. When they asked him in an interview afterwards, the post-game interview, post-game, I keep saying post-game because, you know, football and all, the post-fight interview, he said, you know, he was hurting. He said he was holding his ribs the whole time. He's like, I'm hurting. I can feel it. He's like, that guy really punished me. So Tebow says that he's going to retire after one more fight. We'll see if he sticks to his word. Now I need to move on. We need to talk about this Frank Mir thing. All right, Frank Mir is a monster. All right, he's a monster. I'll put it like this. Frank Mir was getting his ass kicked from the first round on. He was getting his ass kicked. Nera, the other brother, Nera, yeah, was beating his ass, was tagging him with strikes. Mir was just like this. He was getting punched. He was so wobbly. He was walking sideways across the cage. It was crazy. I mean, Mir was pretty much done. I was getting ready to say, stop this fight. But once it went to the ground, Mir showed beautiful, I put his movement. He showed how to use an opponent's momentum against them. It was just beautiful. The switch that they were doing on the ground, it was a thing of beauty. It really was. If you know about fighting, it's something you don't see all the time. And Mir decided, you know, he got him in a submission, and Nera, being a man, wouldn't tap. So what did Mir do? He broke the fucking arm. He broke his arm. I'm like, wow, and he had to stop the fight. And Nera, the whole time, is just like, he's real quiet about it. I'm like, you just got your arm broke, and you're real quiet about it. That's a man. It takes a man to be quiet, to have silence through pain, than it does a man to break someone's arm. That shows endurance. That shows, oh my God, I give so much credit to him for having his arm broken like that, and for everyone to see, because his arm was all like this, and not saying anything. Now, here's the problem I have. All right, there's a lot of people that was online when we were watching the fight, and they're like, Mir shouldn't have broke his arm, Mir went too far, and because Mir said, you know, that's what you trained for, and I'm like, what do you mean that's what you trained for? You trained to break the guy's arm? Yes, that's what you trained for. This is martial arts. You train to fight to the end. What you think, he was going to get to a certain point with his arm and say, okay, he's not tapping, I'm not going to apply any more pressure? No, he's supposed to. You're supposed to make your opponent submit. If he won't submit, then, hey, that's on him. That's his discretion. He's going to get his arm broken. All right, that's what you do. It's obvious, and I'm saying there's a lot of people who have their own sports shows on YouTube and things like that. And they're saying these type of things. He shouldn't have broke his arm. Obviously, you've never been in a cage. You haven't been in the octagon, so you don't know. You've never studied martial arts. They teach you how to fight, how to defend yourself to the utmost. All right, they teach you this. Breaking arms, hell, some of them even teach you kill points. All right, and some of you know what I'm talking about. All right, there's no excuse. You fight to the end. It's a fight. I didn't know this was hand-holding. This is a fight. What did you expect? There is no such thing as, oh, I'm not going to go but so far, so he'll be okay. No, that's the ref's job to stop it. Don't you understand that? I don't get it. The fights are not fueled by anger, unless there's some trash talking going on. The fights are not fueled by anger. All right, it is competition, but you have to take that competition to the next level every time if you want to win. There are no excuses. Anybody who is saying that Mir was wrong for breaking that guy's arm, you have no right to talk about the UFC or fighting in general. You know what? Go somewhere and be a fashion model or something. Go take pictures, you know, with Heidi Klum or something. You don't deserve to be talking about a man's sport, about a man's competition. That is not right. And I said it. All right, there's no way you can sit here and get mad at Frank Mir for what he did. But let's move on. Now, I said last week, guys, that Jon Jones was going to beat Lyoto Machida. Did I not say that? Because of his awkwardness and his athleticism, and he did beat him. Now, I will put it this. Machida had a hell of a good chance because if anyone watched the fight, Machida was the only striker that we've seen so far that was actually effective against Jon Jones. The only striker, all right? Now, that's telling you something. Now, I really fully believe that if Machida would have actually used those lethal kicks more to Jon Jones's legs, there would have been a problem. Yes, Jones has reach, but if you slow this man's wheels down, it's starting to show, all right? Now, I'm not saying Jon Jones is a bum or anything. No, he's a great fighter. I don't have any problem. Like I said, I picked the guy to win, all right? But there are weaknesses to every fighter. And I think Lyoto Machida, even though he didn't win, I think that he just opened up the gates for everyone else to say, hey, look, there's a way you can beat this guy now, all right? Because we haven't seen this before. But it was amazing to see the trade-off between the two. And for those who don't know, Jon Jones won standing guillotine. That's right, standing guillotine. Now, for those who didn't watch what was going on, if you watch the replay, Machida is already out. When he pushes his wrist up to get more leverage, Machida's out. His right arm just collapses. His other arm is stuck up here, but his other arm just collapses. He's done. He was out for like 3-4 seconds before John McCarthy, the referee, decided to stop the fight. And when Jones let go of the hold, Machida just crashed to the mat. Just collapsed. It was crazy. But it was a great card. It was an amazing card. Anyone who did not get a chance to see UFC 140, by all means, please watch all the fights. They were amazing. You're getting your money's worth. You really are. Now, I need to move on, guys, real quick and talk about soccer. That's why I waited today, because when I was going to do the video, Manchester City and Chelsea played. And it was a great game because at first I did not expect, I'll put it like this, I did not expect Manchester City just come out, in 5 minutes and 40-something seconds to come out and just score. It was like a one-man army. The guy he pretty much walked the ball into the net, because the goalkeeper came out too quick and he beat him. It was amazing. But I'll put it like this, it settled down, and I'll put it like this. The game was played in the rain, which was amazing, all right? Because first off, I like rain games, whether it's football, baseball, of course they shut it down when it comes to baseball at times, soccer, whatever. I like to see players play in the rain, get dirty, start pushing people. I like to see that, all right? So it was a great game. However, Chelsea had a beautiful setup for their goal in the first half, and I was like, okay, where is this game going? And then, as we know, defense and offense is lobbied. There were some flops, as usual. You know how that goes. But then, late about the 84 mark, the 85 mark around there, handball, which led to a penalty kick. And then Chelsea took over. And what killed me was Manchester City got so frustrated because after that, about the 87 mark, and they had a +4 too. All right, so they had time to score, when it came down to it. But Manchester City, all of a sudden, they start forearming guys in the back. They were knocking each other down. I was like, oh, they're getting pissed. They're trying to win. They were trying to win, but the referees, they started going against, I won't say go against Chelsea. I won't say that just yet. Because even though we saw later in the game, like I said, they had the +4. Chelsea tried to, get back into it again. And they didn't want to give them that corner kick. And everyone's like, that's a corner kick. You have to give it to them. And I'm standing up. I'm like, that's a corner kick. The crowd is yelling it. The other referees are yelling it. The managers are yelling it on the side. And the referee had to change his decision. So I didn't understand what was going on. But anyways, it was a great game. It's the first loss Manchester City has taken. Yes. All right, first loss this year so far, for what I'm hearing. So it was a crazy game. It was very fun to watch. Congratulations, Chelsea, for winning the game. I will be watching. If they keep putting them on TV, guys, I'll keep watching them. All right, like I said, it's just hard to get these type of games on TV. But I need to move on. We need to talk now. I know. Philadelphia Eagles. Now, guys, let's get in this. All right, last week, before the game, you have to understand some Eagles players came out and said some unlawful things, I should say. Once again, trashing the fans. Casey Matthews comes out and says, the fans are bad, they're horrible. Apparently, the fans made his fiance cry and messed with his car and all this other... Casey Matthews, shut up. Shut up. Seriously, you're being known more now for trashing the fans than it is your play on the field. You have to understand that. And a lot of people say, oh, Casey Matthews had his first sack. Do you understand that reports came out before the game, earlier in the week, that Casey Matthews was going to get the start, but he had to have a microphone put in a communication headset put in his helmet. All right, and you want to know why they said that? Because of the fact it will tell him where to go with his assignments, be able to call plays, and where he should go. So pretty much this guy doesn't know his assignment. So they're telling him on the sidelines where he should be, where he should line up, or what the play is. You have to be kidding me. I remember back in football where you had to look inside and they would give you signs, or you had to run over to the sideline to find the play and come back. Now you got to have a communication headset in your helmet. That's the only way you can start. And speaking of Casey Matthews, for those who didn't see in the fourth quarter, he got burned. He got burned by that tight end. And I know a lot of people are saying, why are you putting Casey Matthews on a tight end? That's because he's playing in the nickel. So he is the guy who has to come back and play that. A lot of people don't realize that. I saw a lot of fans' reaction to that, and they just obviously didn't understand it. He's in the nickel. That's his job on that play. But he got burned. And if that tight end catches that ball, we have a one-score game here, people. You have to understand. You have to look at it more. Granted, he didn't catch the ball, but he clearly burnt that player. So for everything that Casey Matthews has been saying throughout the week, yeah, there's a problem. He's not good enough. He's not. Let him go. I'm sorry, you have to let him go. We all know he was being picked anyway because of his last name. It doesn't matter. And what his brother does in Green Bay. We know this by now. Just saying. Anyways, also, check this out. Michael Vick. Fuck Michael Vick. All right? And I'm saying that now. I know a lot of you guys saying, what? What event? What do you mean? Understand. During the week, all right, before the game, Michael Vick came out on Twitter and said, hey, all my fans, hey, Philadelphians, you should go and nominate Philadelphia as the best city in the country this year at some type of government awards. That's what he said. And then Mayor Michael Nutter, yeah, that clown, he retweeted it, and everyone was retweeting it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I stepped up. That's right. Because like I said, you have to look outside of sports at this point. All right? And y'all know, I showed y'all on Twitter, going down to the hoods and taking pictures of it and showing the high drug areas and things of that nature. Y'all see how I do things. So yeah, I take that personally. I know people who were scared to even walk up to Kensington and Somerset. All right? They're too scared, so they take an alternate route. That goes for kids. That goes for the elderly. That goes to show you just how bad things are here. But Michael Vick wants you to vote that Philadelphia is number one. So I got on both of them, him and Michael Nutter. I said, you got to be kidding me. You want us to vote when you have all these problems in the city that you're not doing anything about, and you just want us to vote? No, you have to earn that. Now, if you earn it, I'll vote. And a lot of people was like, you're right, Event. They have to earn it. It's because that's what men do, man. That's what men do. You earn what you get. It's that simple. Don't try to plug all this crap all of a sudden where you should just vote just to vote. Why? So you can throw it in our face later and say, look, we're doing a great job, even though you ain't doing shit? No, it doesn't work that way. So fuck Michael Vick for even trying to do something like that. But let's move on. The game, the boys played the way they were supposed to play. I didn't like all the celebrating going on, but once again, I don't know how many times I keep saying this. Jason Babin is going to get those sacks as long as Trent Cole's on that side. You have to understand Trent Cole is a force. He is not getting the respect he deserves. He is drawing so many people. That quarterback is a right-handed quarterback. That line is the strongest part of the line is on Jason Babin. So what happens? Trent Cole has the weak side of the line. Understand that Trent Cole has to be doubled, or even less, and we saw that when you don't double him. We've seen this. So it opens up more for actually Babin to rush straight. You have to understand this. And here's the thing. Eagles fans were not fooled on Sunday. They weren't. Because as many times as the Eagles kept posting, Jason Babin just got his 14th sack of the season. One guy came out and was like, yeah, but that's his 16th tackle. He only has 16 tackles on the season. Meaning he can't play off the ball. Meaning he can't. If the ball's in play and it's not a sack, he's not doing anything. You have to look at the overall numbers, and that's what people are saying. And a lot of people are saying it doesn't matter if he has 14 sacks this season. We 5-8 now. 5-8. That's not great. And people say dream team. You have to understand that this is more. I told you before. Fans that are educated are going to be mad because they don't give a shit about individual accolades right now due to the fact of how bad this team is playing. Now, like I said, this team this team can beat all these teams that they have left. I said this, that they can win out. Did I not? Beating Miami, it wasn't a big deal for me. They were the same record as us, 4-8 at the time, all right? It's Miami. Let's be serious here. And I understand that the team needed a win, all right? But these guys acted like it was the fucking Super Bowl. That's what they did. And the thing is, Jason, you know what? I'll save Jason Babin for a minute. Fans online said, you know, for all these Eagles players talking about us, they need to realize just who's in those stands in Miami. The Eagles fans outnumbered the Miami Dolphin fans. And I'm telling you, if you watch the game, I don't think there's anybody who did not hear those chants of "Let's go Eagles." Don't tell me you didn't hear that. It's a joke the way these players, and the thing is, people are saying, you know what, after the game, the players need to look in the stands and acknowledge the fans. Did the players do that? No. They didn't give a shit. They didn't care. They were so worried about themselves and being all hyped up and not realizing that those fans that they bagged before we won the game, we were 4-8, playoffs out of reach, all right? Apparently the fans are so bad, but yet they can make the trip all the way to fucking Miami to go and cheer you. Yeah. Like I said, you need to start realizing this is not just about you. And Jason Babin, I'm telling you now, Jason Babin threw his coach under the bus. That's right. For those who did not see the post-game interview with Derek Gunn, he said, you know, the reason they won, and Derek Gunn said, you know, what was different between, you know, now and then when you played, you know, a couple games ago? Why is this team all of a sudden clicking so bad? And I mean, so good. And Jason Babin said, because we're being put in the right spots to make the right plays. And everyone thought, wait a minute, he just threw Juan Castillo under the bus. And Derek Gunn challenged him on. He said, so what you're trying to say is that you weren't put in the right spots in previous games. And Jason Babin said, I can go get Juan Castillo for you if you want. See, you have to understand, this dude does not know when to shut up. And on top of it, he gets on CSN and he starts apologizing to the people. Man, I told you last week how he's saying how, you know, the media, they live in their mother's basement. Try to apologize, try to clarify the issue. No, you said it. You said it. Be a man and own up to it. Don't try to backtrack now. See, this is what I'm talking about. I told Jason, let him go. Let him go. And I know he's got sacks. I understand all this, but let him go, man. I told you, we don't need people like that here. This franchise is based off of a certain principle. It really is. It's not just about trashing the fans and then going playing well and think that everything's going to be okay. No, that's not what this organization is about. But it seems like a lot of you fans don't understand that. And just because we won against Miami, I'm not trying to hear that all of a sudden we're playoff bound. We can get in. Well, the Giants, they beat Cowboys. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't sit here and think that all of a sudden you can drink the Kool-Aid. And I'm pulling like this because a lot of you guys got back to me on this. And a lot of people I've seen online have been arguing, you know, well, if you don't think this team can go to the playoffs, then you're not a fan. Well, we've already talked about this before. So I'm not even going to entertain the point that, you know, oh, they're not fans because they don't think they can go to the playoffs. I'm not going into that, all right? That's just borderline. That's just fucking stupid, all right? But you have to understand the season is over, but what did I say? We can make the season a lot worse for someone else. Don't sit here and tell me that. And the thing is, Andy Reid was the only person that acknowledged the fans. He came out and said, you know, the fans were great. You know, if you didn't hear him in the stands, it's crazy. None of the players acknowledged it, but Andy Reid acknowledged it, which is something weird because for those who didn't see what happened as of late, a Philly street artist over at Broaden Fitzwater, had something to say about Andy Reid. Eagles fans, stop the bullshit. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Stop fighting with each other. See, this is why this season has been so bad for us fans. It's not just because of losing. It's not. It's because you have stupid fans who can't separate the difference between reality and football. That's the difference. That is the biggest difference. And they'll put like this. Like I said, we're going to talk man shit right now. So if you're not a man, I'm not trying to hear it, all right? You have to understand, I don't support Michael Vick now. I don't support Jason Babin, Jason Devine, or any of these guys who think that they're better than anyone else because they're put on a pedestal, because you put them on a pedestal, because, you know, they can play a sport, because they can throw a football, they can tackle a guy. Get the fuck out of here. When it comes to real life, you know if these guys were not playing football and they acted that way in front of somebody or in front of you, you'd be like, yeah, that guy's a dick. He's a fucking asshole. You gonna tell me you wouldn't say nothing to them? Exactly. Don't tell me this, all right? This is the difference. If you can't separate the two, then there's something wrong with you. Eagles fans, cut it the fuck out. These players have already said, now put it like this, they have said time and time again, if you watch any interview, they're playing for themselves. They did not say, oh, we're going to play for ourselves. We're going to play for the guy, each guy on, you know, in his locker room. Okay, that means you're not playing for the city, you're not playing for the fans, and you sure as hell aren't playing for the ideal that is the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you understand that, guys? I hope you understand that, because I'm not trying to hear anything else. I'm really not. At this point, the Eagles, as far as I'm concerned, just let them go somewhere. Let them go somewhere. This team needs to be blown up. I've said it time and time again, but it doesn't matter what I say, because I'm the bad guy always at this point when I say this team needs to be blown up. But it's okay for fucking angry Greg Ryan, who's pretty much a carbon copy of me. He's a PC version of me, all right? They put on TV, and they knew what the fuck they were doing. They knew what they were doing. Don't give me this bullshit, especially when Marshall was over there. And come on now, they set this up from the beginning. We're going to talk about this more, media. We really are, in a minute. But that is not the point. Let's move on. All right, speaking of talking, I want to talk about this a little bit more due to the fact that Giants, Cowboys, that's right, we're talking more NFL, due to the fact that, for those that say, during the week, before the game, Giants players start getting out Cowboys players via Twitter. Look, I'm getting real tired of this whole Twitter beef with players and trash talking. It's stupid. It's beyond stupid. You never saw Lawrence Taylor, at the time, tweeting, "Oh, I'm gonna kick your ass." Come on, man. Can you imagine Greg Lloyd, "Oh, I'm gonna kick your ass," or "Oh, I'll kick your ass"? Come on, man. Come on. I understand it's a change of the times, but when you're a football player, you're supposed to conduct yourselves. Maybe I'm just too old school about it. Maybe. I don't know. But the fact is, they came out and said that Dallas Stadium is trash. Now, come on, guys. We know that's not true. As much money they put into that stadium looks great. Come on now. I still have a problem with that, the big screen, because, when punters punt and hits the screen, I have a problem with that. But, other than that, the stadium looks great. And this is coming from Philadelphia. So I'm not trying to hear that. So what does DeMarcus Ware says? He says that Giants players are mad because they don't play for the Cowboys. That everyone wants to be a Cowboy. Keep believing the hype DeMarcus Ware, because that's not true. That's not true at all. Many players have come out and said that they don't ever want to be a Cowboy, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, all right? You keep believing the hype. Anyways, this game was about defense as far as I'm concerned, and it was a shootout, I understand, but there was lack of defense. Yes, I'm looking at you, Dallas defense. It's ridiculous. First, you let the Cardinals come back and beat you. Now you let the Giants come back and beat you. It's amazing. And there's players on that team who seem like they just want to quit. I'm looking at you, Terrence Newman. Yeah, I'm looking at you. But you know what? It doesn't matter. The fact is, this game came down to one big problem. It was the defense. It was not Tony Romo. He did his job, okay? But you have to look at this point, you have to look at your head coach, or you have to look at Rob Ryan's defense. It's one of the two. It really is. It's sad. But the Cowboys, you lost. Now, both teams, both Giants and Cowboys, have pretty much an easy schedule at this point. All right? So we still have a lot to go. But it doesn't matter. They can still win out. This is why I say, if you look at the schedules, I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen for the Eagles. Just saying. But I need to move on. All right? Also, I need to talk about this one Tim Tebow. That's right. Tim Tebow came out there and he played against the Chicago Bears. And you know what? This wasn't Denver's game to win. It was Chicago's game to lose. And they lost it. They lost it. Don't sit here and tell me it was the miraculous fourth quarter Tebow time. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But the Chicago defense, the Chicago offense had this game won. Why the hell is Marion Barber running out of bounds? Why is he running out of bounds? Then he loses the football, and Denver takes over, and Tim Tebow marches them. I won't even say really that much upfield. Everyone's praising Tebow for what he did. When it came down to the kicker, he kicked a 59-yard field goal and a 51-yard field goal that game, and he got no credit. No credit. It was all Tebow. It's all Tebow time. And it's crazy because if you watched it, fans, oh my God, fans in Denver, and someone said it best about the air being very thin in Denver, because fans were bowing to Tebow. He's not a god. He is not. Don't sit here and pull this bullshit. I said before, because a lot of people are saying now, especially on ESPN, it's his faith that gives him the edge. That's why he's winning. It's because of God. Okay, so Reggie White, I guess that's the reason, because he didn't get this type of publicity when it came to Tim Tebow, this hype. No, it was later in his career when he retired. All right, Brian Dawkins, John Kitna, I guess all these other people who wear their religion on their sleeve. All right. It doesn't matter, right? But Tim Tebow, it matters. What's going on here, ESPN? Seriously, because it seems like you're discounting a lot of people, who have come out, and Ray Lewis. A lot of these guys who believe so much in their faith, but they don't get this type of hype that Tim Tebow does. What's going on here? I really need to know, because that's really starting to upset me. I've said before, if he's not walking on water and he's not curing diseases, he throws a fucking football. Don't tell me he's a god. And you Denver fans, they're the hell, once again, Denver, they started getting more tattoos again of Tim Tebow. And like I said before, you media guys, there's something wrong with you. Look, last time I showed that you guys were stealing my YouTube nation. Now, you're going to steal this shit.
Each guy in no particular order, though. So we're going to start off with number one.
Yes. No particular order.
No particular order. Monty Ball, a.k.a. Wrecking Ball, a.k.a. Money Ball. Wrecking Ball, why? Because he will wreck your day if you try and tackle him. Money Ball, why? Because when he gets near the end zone, he is money. 38 touchdowns. Nobody defines their nickname more than the Honey Badger, a.k.a. Tyrone Matthew. Now listen, this guy, the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, he's fearless, and just like the Honey Badger, he takes what he wants.
Y'all one step away from just blurting out main event TV. It's obvious there's a fan behind the scenes of the show. There's obviously someone that does the teleprompter work or something that's a fan of my show. I'll put it like this. If you're going to take from me, because that's what you do, you take and take and take what you think is cool, what's hip to keep you afloat. I'll put it like this. Bring me on already, man. Seriously, I'm done with this. Bring me on. All right, I will take on Skip Bayless. I'll destroy Skip Bayless. All right, I'm not scared of him. I'll come to Connecticut and battle with him. And guess what? And I guarantee you he'll lose. I'll put money on it. Matter of fact, I'll put this channel on it. If he can beat me in debate, I'll close the channel down. All right, that's how confident I am that I can beat Skip Bayless and his staff. That's right, because he doesn't do all the research and stuff. He has people who do the research for him. Yeah, so it'll be one against many, and I guarantee you I'd still win. Now, anyone who wants to say, oh, well, you weren't doing AKAs, oh, I'll play this. Name one person that was doing AKAs like this before me. The style that I do them in. Name one person, all right? Because if you go back into the backlog, like I said, it's not just saying AKA like they used to say, Batman, AKA Megatron. No. This is spouting about AKA. If you don't believe me, go back into the backlog when I was tearing shit up and go see it, all right? I'm not trying to hear this. ESPN knows what they're doing. They know. And I'm getting real sick and tired of it. You need to pay dividends. Like I said, there's a lot of carbon copies out there as of late. Like I said, Greg Ryan, yeah, carbon copy of me. PC version of me. That's all he is. He gets praised for, talking bad about the Eagles or just telling how it is about the Eagles. But if I do it, man, you might as well just hang me by a fucking noose at this point. It's crazy. Anyways, I'm going to move on. We need to talk about hockey. Flyers fans, you are being lied to. That's right. You're being lied to. If you have not understood what's been going on as late with one Chris Pronger, you're being lied to. Don't sit here and tell me that one day Chris Pronger has a virus and he's out. And we're all like, okay, he's out with a virus. And then 1 week goes by, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by. And we're like, wait a minute. What type of virus does this dude have? All right, we're not talking like Jeremy Macklin levels. We're talking Chris Pronger. What type of virus does this dude have? And then all of a sudden, he needs knee surgery. What? Wait a minute. They said, oh, we just found that he needed knee surgery. If you're just finding these things out now, then there's a problem, all right? Obviously, their staff are not doing the job right. And now, all of a sudden, he's got a concussion. You got to be kidding me, all right? Look, if you want to say he got the concussion because he took the puck in the face earlier, fine. But they should have let that be known when it happened. Don't tell me all of a sudden he all of a sudden has a concussion. And speaking of concussions, I need to talk about this shit real quick because a lot of fans had something to say about yesterday when I was talking about it. Sidney Crosby, you soft. I'm not trying to hear it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to hear it. Sidney Crosby has been treated with kid gloves. And I put it like this. Concussions are not, I put it like this. They're not something you should take lightly, all right? It's a very serious deal. But Sidney Crosby, every time somebody touches him, he has a concussion. I'm not trying to hear this. He ran into his teammate, which hit him in the arm. Guess what? He was out 2 games because they wanted to make sure it wasn't concussion. When he got elbowed, and that's what a lot of you guys tried to argue yesterday. Oh, well, he got elbowed, and that's why it's concussion. If that's the case, if we're going by that logic, because I watched that elbow was not that hard, all right? If we're going by that logic, every fighter in the UFC or in boxing should have a concussion every time they fight. All right, I'm not trying to hear this. He's soft. Is he a talent? Yes. Sidney Crosby can play hockey. I will give him that. And I'm not sitting here trying to tear him down, but it's obviously something wrong with his mentality. There has to be. He's second-guessing himself if this is the case. There's no way you can keep having concussion after concussion, and they're not even hard hits. They're not hard hits. I'm sorry, but a teammate needs to come over to his side, pull him by his fucking collar, I'm telling you, by his shoulder pad from his collar, pull him and say, look, get it the fuck together. It's not just the organization, it's him as well. Get it together. We are out here on this ice just like you, getting hit, putting in work. Don't sit here and say all of a sudden you got a fucking concussion. I'm not trying to hear it. But it was okay for when, Malkin tried to hit Giroux in the back with that forearm, with that elbow, right? Tried him in the back of his head. He didn't get in trouble for that, though, because they didn't want to see that it was intent. Don't give me this shit, man. Seriously, the Penguins, you always want respect. And especially from us Flyers fans, you always want respect. But when you pull moves like these, you don't get any respect. The dude is soft. He needs to train better if that's the case. And I'll put it, many athletes train outside of their given sport. Maybe it's time for Crosby to start training to get himself together. This is bullshit. I'm talking on a serious mentality level. Don't tell me that all of a sudden that elbow was just all of a sudden it's a concussion. No. Like I said, fighters take worse. But I guess they got a concussion every fight. I guess they do. Really? Really? Is this what we got to go on these days? Like, come on. There's not enough men out here. And there's too many excuses. Too many. All right? Either get on the ice and play or shut up. It's that simple. I'm tired of hearing this, man. I'm telling you, Flyers fans, you're being lied to. And I'll put it like this. You Capitals fans, you're fucking despicable. Tonight, we play you guys. And I hope we beat the hell out of you. For those who didn't know, when Giroux got hit in the back, when he got hit in the back of the head with the knee, yeah, and they said he was going to be out, Capitals fans were cheering. That's right. They were cheering that Claude Giroux was hurt because they didn't want to play him. They said, we don't have to go up against them now. Wait a minute, Capitals fans. I thought you wanted to go up against the best, the highest of competition to see how good your team is. And you're cheering because one of our best players is out? You know what? I hope they beat the hell out of you tonight without Claude Giroux, just to make a statement. What'll be your excuse then? You never, and I'm telling you this like I said, and same thing with Sidney Crosby. Just because I don't like Crosby doesn't mean I don't respect him. I want him out there on that ice so when we play him, there will be no excuses. It's the same thing here. Capitals fans, you should want no excuses. You want a full squad out there so that you can play everyone. Now, if someone's automatically injured, like Pronger or something, okay, he's been injured for a while, fine. You can't say anything about that. That's fine. But to sit here and say you're cheering because Giroux's not playing because you know he can torch you, that's saying something about your team. That's saying something about your team. Capitals fans, you're pathetic. You're pathetic. Just saying. Anyways, guys, I need to move on. NBA. That's right. Now, we all know what happened over the weekend. Chris Paul, or especially last week, Chris Paul was supposed to be traded to L.A. All right? Lamar Odom and all them was supposed to come. Now, let me say this now. New Orleans. You fans got, you reached out to me and you wanted to know how I felt about it. And I feel bad for you guys because the fans are stuck in this situation where they can't do anything, all right? Because it's going to be a lose-lose for them, all right? I'll put it like this. The trade that was on the block for when Chris Paul was supposed to go to the Lakers was a good trade. You were getting a lot of guys for that. You were getting like 4 guys out of that, and they were pretty good guys. So you actually were getting something for Chris Paul. I'll put it like this. Chris Paul is supposedly now going to the Clippers. First the deal fell through. Now it's going back. They don't know what's going on. I'll put it like this. If that deal falls through with the Clippers, and pretty much New Orleans not getting anything for it. They're not. All right? But I'll put it like this as well. If Chris Paul stays with the Hornets, the fans know he's not going to be happy. They know next year he's a free agent. All right? If he plays throughout the year, you know his heart's not into it. He leaves next year, you don't get anything for that guy. You get nothing for him. So you would want to trade him now so that you can get some players. Yeah, you'd want to. So what the Lakers were giving you package-wise definitely would have worked with players. I understand if you look at the money aspect, the Lakers were really making out. They were cutting like $40 million off their budget, but and they were getting an all-star player. But you were getting great role players around you guys for the Hornets where it would make up for Chris Paul because we saw when Chris Paul was hurt not too long ago, was it in the season, the guys stepped up and they played his role really well. So I don't understand this. New Orleans fans, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't at this point when it comes to Chris Paul. They really are. And it's sad because they shouldn't have to feel that way. They shouldn't, all right? We've seen a number of trades all of a sudden go through. LeBron James comes out with the heat and says, I'll put it like this. He comes out and says, last year really wasn't him. Yeah. He says if he could do it all over again, he probably would. Yeah. All right, he goes to say that the media, he fell into the hype of what the media was saying about him being the villain, so he tried to play the villain role. But this year, that won't happen. That's bullshit. That tells me you're a weak mentality. You have a weak mentality. That's what it tells me. If you're falling in what the media is saying, you have a weak mentality. You fell for the hype. You're supposed to be the person in charge. You're the person on the court. Why are you letting them dictate what you're doing? But it doesn't matter. Anyways, he says he's at a happy place now. I don't know how you can be at a happy place when you've lost the championship the way you did and then trash the fans the way you did. And I want to talk about this because when I dropped that bomb on LeBron James, all right, last season when he talked about the fans, the so-called haters who didn't like him, a lot of people came out the fucking woodwork and was like, oh, he's only talking about the haters, how they can go back to their normal lives and everything. No, understand, there are celebrities who don't like LeBron James. Are you going to tell me now that they should go back to their normal lives? There's rappers who've made diss songs about LeBron James. Are they supposed to go back to their normal lives? Come on, man. Come on. It has nothing to do with that. LeBron James said what he did, and he still hasn't apologized for that shit. Still hasn't. I'm not trying to hear it, man. No half-assed apologies. All right? I don't care about LeBron James, but the way him and Chris Bosh were talking, was it this week? They're looking to take over. All right? For those who don't know, Shane Battier getting ready to sign with him, with the Heat. Yes. All right? I mean, there's a lot of moves being made. All right? Lamar Odom is now with Dallas. I don't know why you would trade him, to a rival like that, but I don't know. And everyone saw what happened with Lamar Odom. He got on. He was on ESPN Radio Star, damn near crying because he was so upset that he was being traded to LA, and that the deal didn't go through. From LA, I'm sorry, deal didn't go through, and he didn't know what to do then. So they traded him somewhere else. And Kobe came out and he is pissed. He was like, "How do you trade a guy who had his best season, and how do you do that?" And so Kobe is mad. All right, if I play this Lakers, if you don't get Dwight Howard, you're done. You're done. Kobe is not a happy camper right now. Especially with a new coach and all this stuff. Yeah, he's not happy. He's not happy. And it's going to show. It's going to show. Because if you're trying to be a contender still, you need to have another big piece. And you're getting rid of all your pieces, which makes no sense to me. But let's keep going. Dwight Howard. Talks to him going, the Nets. Let him go. Orlando is playing this game with him. They don't want to give him his money. I don't understand it. I don't like Dwight Howard anyway. Y'all know how I feel about him. But hey, if they're not going to pay him, go get your money somewhere else. Go to LA. Go to New York. Go wherever you want. All right, people need a center, and I'm really upset about the Sixers at this point because we can talk about this. Understand, guys? Last week, Thaddeus Young was paid It was like 5 years. It was like high 40, low $50 million for 5 years. Look, guys, and a lot of people are mad, and I understand why they're mad. You have to understand, this is a new organization with the Sixers. Am I correct? Okay, so we thought that getting rid of these big contracts would be gone. But the days of that were over, right? I mean, come on. But you're giving this guy so much money. Look, Thad Young is a good player, but he has not put up that many points and stats where he deserves $40, $50 million. You got to be kidding me. I mean, come on. And with all these big moves being made when it comes to players going other places, the Sixers, the only moves they made is trying to get fans to vote for a mascot. You've got to be kidding me. This should tell you exactly how our season's going to go. This should tell you. All right? I'm going to be rooting for the Sixers. It's going to be fun to watch basketball, but don't play with me. All right? This is bullshit. The Sixers organization should have stepped out of their means and gone and got somebody. Don't tell me this is right. This is bullshit. All right? And fans are actually arguing online about who's the mascot's going to be. They're fighting with each other. And for those who don't also understand, the Sixers, for those who don't know on Twitter, there's there's some fans, you know how they make parody accounts or whatever. Well, apparently some fans made an account of Phil E. Moose and the Franklin Dog and all that. The Sixers are threatening to sue them. That's right, because they want the rights to those names. Now you have to understand, guys, those names that the Sixers want, they can't get. Why? Because it's not official yet. There's no copyright to the Franklin Dog or to Phil E. Moose. That's why it's a contest. You have to pick first. Whoever you pick will be the official mascot. Now, when that mascot becomes official, then you can say that because it's all in writing. But right now, it's not. You can't strong-arm regular people doing parody accounts. You can't do that. And threaten to sue them, you can't do that. You can't. You can't. It's impossible. All right? But it's a joke. Sixers, you should be worried about getting players and putting asses in the seats, not worried about who has what account on a mascot. Really, that is the last thing you should be worried about and threaten legal. No, stop. There's something wrong with y'all. Anyways, I'm done for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.